Hey, I'm Himothy, and welcome back to the Pure Hoops discussion, the PhD, the place where we talk real about the game, not just scores and stats, but the business, the culture, and everything in between. Today, I want to talk to you, I want to walk you through something I've been thinking a lot about, and it's the WNBA and what happened during the pregame warm-up during the All-Star game, and where the players, the All-Stars, wore t-shirts saying, "Pay us what you owe us." Now listen, I saw the shirts, I saw the reactions online. I respect what the players are doing. You got to have some hustle, you got to have some fight, especially when you're in the midst of the CBA deal that they're going through right now. They're standing up for what they believe in, and they want change, they want growth. But I started to think, what does owe us even mean from a financial standpoint? We always hear these calls for better pay. And again, I completely support equal opportunity and investment in women's sports. But when you strip away the politics and the emotion and just look at the numbers, does the math even work? So that's what I want to do today. So immediately my head went where I'm seeing a lot of the discourse online, which is the WNBA isn't necessarily profitable, and it's not a rumor, it's not a stigma or anything. This is based on purely financial things, and it runs at a loss every year, somewhere between $10 to $20 million. And who's covering that loss? It's the NBA. They've been subsidizing the league since it was born. To some NBA owners, they even mention that the WNBA is a tax write-off, a brand extension, a good look, but not a moneymaker, not yet. And that's what I want to focus about, is the yet, okay? But let's get back to the point and back to the discourse. So when they're saying, pay us what you owe us, I start thinking, what's being owed here, right? Just based off the numbers. And in a business sense, nobody's really owed anything unless they're generating the value that supports it. And if we're keeping it 100, outside of Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Aja Wilson, and a couple more players, most players in the league just aren't moving the needle financially. Amazing athletes and beautiful games, the way, I'll be watching WNBA from time to time, and it's entertaining basketball, especially for a basketball head in general, right? Because hoops isn't about gender or anything like that, in my opinion. Hoops is skill. Hoops is, once you get in that fucking bag and you start, step back, ooh, or post up, ooh, hit the fucking post like Hakeem, But in the end of the day, if the majority of the league aren't bringing revenue, they're not moving the needle financially. And you might be thinking that I'm coming from a harsh point of view, and it is. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. I'm trying to be real. If this was the UFC, boxing, tennis, WWE, you eat what you kill. You bring in fans, eyeball sales, you get paid. If not, you don't. So the thought hit me, if we really paid WNBA players strictly based on the money they generated, a lot of them would have to pay the league just to play. That's how upside the model is right now. And I'm not speaking from the POV of Twitter, where everyone is on Twitter oh, you guys have to pay, and coming from the rudeness. I'm not here to criticize the WNBA. I'm not here to criticize the players. I'm not anti-WNBA. I want the league to grow. I think it has so much potential and untapped potential. I feel like every investor should be putting money in the WNBA, because the ROI one day will hit. It is like investing in the NBA in the 1950s and getting your money way on. For example, the owners of the Spurs and the Nuggets, when they were bought out by the NBA, when they used to be in the ABA, and I think it was the Spurs owners of the time, they're basically getting a percentage of the Spurs revenue till today. And I think they generated so much billions when they sold for maybe a couple million back then, even if that. But let me get back to the point. It's the WNBA has potential, but the way that things go about, like the way things start to play out, will determine the future of the WNBA. There's like we cannot force the issue and with salary demands that aren't backed by revenue. In the end of the day, the way you grow the WNBA sustainability is through strategy, not charity. Let me break it down how I would do it. And again, this is just me thinking through it. Podcast style, no script writers, no corporate fillers, just logic and passion for the game. This is me. I graduated with a sports management degree. I'm not someone who has the multitude of experience in the industry or anything. I just learned some things, and hopefully my opinion can be relayed with open arms and open ideas. Because honestly, I love the game. I love basketball, and I want to see everybody win. At the end of the day, I want players to get that big deal, because that big deal determines like basketball is the growing sport. And I always say that basketball is the most entertaining sport. When you look at things objectively, football may be the bigger sport, but I think the NBA will always be the most entertaining sport of all time. I NBA, WNBA, basketball, FIBA. When we're talking about EuroLeague, the difference of styles in every country, it's almost like soccer. It's almost like football. When I said football initially, I was talking about soccer, by the way. But, you got to clarify when you're here. But let me talk about what I would do if it was me in charge of. And some players might say, thankfully, it's not me who's in charge of any of this shit. And, maybe so. But I just want to go through a logical reasoning. First off, I think we should monetize certain players, and that being the stars. We need to stop pretending that every player in the league has the same value. They don't. It's not hate. It's economics. It's facts. Caitlin Clark, she's a draw. Angel Reese is a personality. She's a draw. Aja Wilson is the established face of the WNBA. She's a draw. These are the pillars. Same way Magic, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan built the NBA in the 80s and the 90s. We have to push those stats hard. And not the literal statistics on the court. I mean, national TV, endorsements, merch, rivalries. We have to give them the spotlight. Not out of favoritism, but out of necessity, if we want this league to keep growing and becoming what we believe it can be one day. Secondly, we need to lean into the culture. We can't keep marketing the WNBA like it's a charity case. It has to be a product people want, not one they feel guilty about not watching. And that's that's a sad, harsh reality. The product gets better when you lean into the storylines. Like when I forgot which game it was, but the Fevers versus I want to say Connecticut Sun, but I might be wrong, and I don't want to make a fool out of myself. Probably have. Maybe Washington Mystics. But there's a whole fight, and I was watching that shit. I was like, okay. And these storylines is what you lean into to get the product better. Reese versus Clark, that's money. The drama is the money. Even like, there's other ways to market it, similar to how we have league fits in the NBA. Ton of fits. These ladies they have drip. I'm not even gonna lie. Whether it's drip. Drip is it's a conglomerate. Anyone can have drip. A lot of them have drip, and they got showcase it, and there needs to be a platform where it gets showcased better. Social media, I want to see beef. I want to see it. I want to know if the WNBA has a KD, who's going to be talking shit on Twitter, who's going to be getting engagement, getting the games more hype, Post-game tension. And we need to let it breathe, bro. Like, in the end of the day, the product should speak for itself. And I am not denying the skill and the performance and the athleticism of these players, because honestly, people don't watch it for skill. It's entertainment. drama, stakes, identity. You want to make these players feel like larger than life. Similar to what WWE do. It's it's the brand that builds it over time. You know, and when we look at these dramas and the narratives and everything, the NBA thrives off it too. Like, are we not forgetting the only reason this man, James Harden, didn't win the MVP in 2017 was because of Russ and KD's drama and narrative that they pushed to give Russ the MVP? Sure, Russ averaging 30, 10, and 10 helped, but Harden was averaging 31, 11, and 9, And gentlemen swept him in the first round of the playoffs. So when we talk about it, the narrative is everything. And the WNBA has them too. But they just need to utilize it to the most of its ability and get the most of its capability as well. It just has to market them better. Third, this is key. Because I'm not saying that we should underpay players. I'm saying we should pay players based on performance. Align pay with value. Similar to the NBA. Max players are getting max contracts. Role players are getting role player contracts. Obviously, the scale is larger because the NBA is such a profitable organization. However, there are players on minimum contracts, veterans, people who've been in the league for 15 years, $1 million deals. You have players who cannot secure $10 million deals, such as Jonathan Kuminga, who's looking like he will have to take a pay cut if he wants to leave the Warriors. And it looks like the Warriors have all the leverage and will not be giving him his salary demands, right? So, and it all comes down to value. What do you bring to the team? No one questions why Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Anthony Edwards, all these players get the biggest deals. And I think that it should be the same with the WNBA. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige, Aja Wilson, Collier. The stars should be getting star money. But let's get a strong base of salary, sure. If you boost your jersey sales, break attendance records, spike TV ratings, then you should be given bonuses. If you bring fans through the door, your paycheck should reflect that. It's not about punishing players who aren't stars. It's about rewarding the ones who are growing the game. This is how you build an incentive structure, not just a flat system that ignores market realities. Because the fact is, when we look at the NBA back then, Shaq getting a $10 million deal back in the 90s makes it so that when we are in 2010s, the average player is getting $10 million deals and the star player is getting $30 million deals. My thing is, I do believe WNBA players will be getting that big money really fucking soon. Really soon. However, you cannot rush that process. And it might be unfortunate for certain players who are playing right now, veterans who feel like they haven't gotten paid. And I feel for them because they've done the work. They've put in all the hours. They put in all the extra training. But when it comes to the numbers speaks for themselves. But how else can we grow the WNBA when we look at it from an objective point of view? I think that they need to start going in on the right markets. They don't need to try to force 12 equal franchises with the same fan base when that's not the case. Excuse me. You need to go where the heat is. Indiana. The show's on fire with Caitlin. Chicago. Angel Reese made the must-watch TV. Vegas. Aja has that team on the map. And now let's double down on the markets that aren't responding. Not spread the product thin, hoping every city catches up. That's how you build a real fan culture, like the Warriors did in the Bay, or Seattle did in the early 2000s. Finally, I'm just like, and I don't want to come across rude at all when I say this. Um, we can't expect the league to grow out of guilt. If your only marketing strategy is support women, you're setting yourself up to be ignored the minute people stop feeling guilty. And that's just the sad truth. Instead, give people something they genuinely want to watch. Make the games entertaining. Make the players accessible. Make the rivalries real. Do that and people will come. Not because they should, because they want to. So that's where I'm at. At first, I was just reacting like, how are they asking to be paid more when the league doesn't make money? Because I was genuinely curious. But as I thought about it, there is a way forward, but it has to be earned, not forced. So, no, I don't believe the WNBA players like aren't owed more money by default, but the league itself is owed a real shot at success. That only comes with smart strategy, real storytelling, and financial discipline. Also, I hope you like this. I mean, I haven't really talked about the industry too much and the business of it all, but if I missed anything, hit me up, write it in the comments, um, like, subscribe, and just let me know. Because honestly, I'm really conflicting with this topic. But regardless, like, subscribe, follow where you're listening. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, or any of the above. This is pure hoops discussion. We always keep it honest here. Always keep it informative here. And I hope y'all enjoy this episode. Until next time, peace.